Crawl Toyota, leading the way every day. Atkins Crawl Toyota, symbols of trust.
It was just last month that GPA announced that it was starting from scratch and rebidding its 3-year fuel contract. The first time around, GPA had chosen the bid from Singapore-based Vitol. But Korea's Jiuxing filed a protest before the formal contract was finalized. GPA then entered into a temporary extension of its current contract with Petrobras until the protest could be resolved. Vitol didn't like that, and they filed a protest of their own with GPA over the extension.
In fact, we're very close.
CCU Chairman Simon Sanchez told us last month that all 3 bidders had agreed to drop their protests and restart the bidding process. But Vitol didn't quite agree and has filed a new protest.
Understanding that the parties agreed, let's just do a rebid. And Jiuxing, who had...
All 3 parties agreed to do it.
That's my understanding. I wasn't party there, but that's my understanding, and I think that was GPA's management's understanding because they issued a new bid.
And it wasn't Vitol's understanding, though, apparently.
Well, we're not sure. Now we're not sure what Vitol's understanding is, because even Vitol, whatever their understanding was of this new bid, they're just insisting that we award them the contract, and we can't.
In their latest complaint, they appealed to the Office of Public Accountability just last week, Monday. Vitol says GPA never responded to their initial complaint about the extension of the contract with Petrobras. So that's why they've taken their case to the OPA.
Technically, we'll have to see whether the OPA thinks they have even a standing or a position to rule on Vitol's request, because it's a little unclear to GPA and us what exactly is Vitol protesting. They were never awarded the contract. They're protesting the extension of the existing contract with the existing supplier, Petrobras, which is allowed under the prior contract.
Specifically, what Vitol doesn't like is the deal the Guam Power Authority cut with Petrobras to extend the fuel contract. GPA agreed to meet Petrobras' higher fuel delivery price.
We have to remember that Petrobras, the current supplier, didn't exercise their option last summer to continue the contract because they were losing money. They said, we don't like the terms and conditions. We're not gonna extend. You're gonna have to go bid for a new supplier. And that's what GPA did. GPA, in trying to award the new supplier, had their award protested. So during the Christmas holidays, GPA took its initiative to extend the contract as allowed by the prior contract. It had to take new terms and conditions because Petrobras was not going to renew under the old contract terms of 3 years ago.
Higher rate.
And the result is a higher rate.
It is substantially higher, according to the Petrobras protest filed with the OPA, which states that Petrobras was allowed to raise its contractual rates for fuel delivery by 300% for low sulfur fuel and 450% for high sulfur fuel. They called the extension deal a story of unethical and bad faith procurement.
What we're being charged now is what we would have paid if we had awarded the contract in February. We're not paying any more than what the prices would have been had the contract been awarded in February. But it's clear that that's where the market was going. And so we accepted the new terms with Petrobras because it was very close to their bid and Vitol's winning bid. It was an increase over what it was before.
Vitol believes that all procurement actions should have been suspended in February, including any extension, when Jiuxing filed its first protest.
The extension granted to Petrobras lasts until the end of August?
I believe so.
Is there a danger that GPA will run out of fuel?
I don't think so, not at this time. And we could even extend the Petrobras contract. We would rather not. We'd rather go with the new bidder. But at this point...
if you had to, you could extend with Petrobras.
If we have to, we could extend with Petrobras. That's not our desire.
The new bids are due on Friday.
At this point, we believe we have legally extended the contract through August. We are legally rebidding the contract, and the bids are due the end of this month. And we hope to have a new supplier on board before the end of August and to continue the flow of tankers to Guam after August from a new supplier.
Kevin Kerrigan, PNC News.